Welcome back to the podcast, day number 25 of the Appalachian Trail Summer 2025. And today was a 6.4 mile day from Crawford Notch up to the Mitzvah Hut. And I'm looking at my far out right now. The total ascent was 3,222 feet, and the total descent was 699 feet. So today begins my 3-day hut stay. So today was Mitzvah Hut. Tomorrow will be the Lake of the Clouds. And then after that, the Madison Hut. But today's hike it's just tough. Tough climb up from Crawford Notch. I mean, the majority of the day started at, I don't know, let's see. Crawford Notch, when you start, is about 1,800 feet. And then when you get to the top of Mount Jackson, you are 4,034 feet. So it was a 4.7 mile climb. And this is not a Southern Appalachian Trail style climb. This is rocks, roots, pulling yourself up, rock slabs, sliding down rock slabs. Today brought the pole sucking mud. There was an area where there were a lot of bog bridges. And if you put your pole down, I mean, my pole at one point was like all the way into the mud up to the handle. So today brought a lot of challenges, and we made it. And I am extremely happy. So it's dry, beautiful morning, beautiful afternoon. Clouds are rolling through. The temperature when I started was, I don't know, about 66 degrees. And at the hut right now, I just read the weather report. It is 58 degrees. So loving the temperature change. Just going to hang out. They got hot coffee going. Already got me a little bit of dessert to eat. I am going to sit back and enjoy this day. And the main point is with doing this hut-to-hut traverse is being able to get to the huts, rest, fuel, and recover for the next day. So you've heard me say this before, the whites are hard, but they are very, very rewarding. And today is one of those rewarding days. So the peaks, I think we went... Yeah, the first peak was Mount Webster, and the second peak was Mount Jackson. And then first thing tomorrow, we have Mount Pierce, and then we will be on the Crawford Path, which leads you on up to Mount Washington on the AT. But we'll be making a pit stop over at the Lake of the Clouds. And who knows what the weather is going to bring tomorrow, but I am going to be prepared for all conditions. And we will get through it one step at a time, continuing to make forward progress. And I decided for this leg of recording the podcast that I would wait until the end of the day or when I got to the hut, because it just takes so much concentration. Somebody the other day said that, he's not saying that the trail is hard. He's saying that the trail is tedious. So you got to be careful where you put your foot. You got to be careful, your hand placement when you're going up these rock slabs. And I am A-okay with doing small mileage through here. So I get through here safe and sound, and I can recover for the next day. But what I was going to say is I am going to just record once a day, kind of give you guys a recap over these next 3 days. And then I will put this episode out. So, all right, y'all, we will be back tomorrow for day number 25. All right, there's a correction. I will be back tomorrow for day number 26. See y'all soon. All right, y'all, good morning. It is the morning of day 26. I have left Mitzvah Hut this morning, and I am heading north toward the Lake of the Clouds hut. But I wanted to come on and share a couple stories with you from the hut last night. Had a great time. People were coming and going in and out of the hut, but I met a family, mom and dad, and young daughter, young son, and the mom and dad thru hiked the trail in 2007. And the mom's trail name was Sunshine, or is Sunshine. And the dad's trail name is Google. And he's like, yeah, kind of ironic, yeah, now. And I'm like, yeah. So it was fun to sit and reminisce with them. And I was talking to the mom sitting at one of the tables, and the daughter came up and she brought over a deck of cards, and she goes, you want to play trash with us? And I was like, absolutely. So ended up playing cards with mom and the daughter. I think the daughter's name is Fiona. I know she has a trail name, but I can't remember it right now. And she taught us how to play a card game that she learned at camp, and we played cards right up until dinner, and dinner was amazing. Salad, pasta, bread, all the things. And yeah, so it was just fantastic to sit and chat with those guys and drink coffee and, you know, kind of hang out and reminisce about the trail and all that stuff. And then, yeah, and we talked about, you know, the whites and, you know, slowing down, and as we get older and doing things slower, but does not take the meaning out of, you know, getting the job done, and just bringing their kids up here. And man, their son was running around all over the place, and it was just awesome to watch it. Next to the Mitzvah Hut, they also have an AMC campsite. So through hikers were coming and going, and they have a caretaker, and got to meet the caretaker, and their son was just over there. It was almost like he became the caretaker, but it was so cool to see kids, you know, not all about their cell phones and what's happening on TikTok, and so refreshing. And, you know, I was reflecting last night as I, you know, went to sleep in the hut. The huts are just bunks, and they have rooms and so many bunks in a room, and there were only 9 of us at the hut last night, so I got my own room, so I was able to spread out all my gear, and I just fell asleep to everybody kind of talking outside the hut, and I love that. I love that. The murmuring of happy voices, and I just absolutely love that. And it caused me to reflect, and I never want to sound ungrateful for being able to be out here on trail. There was we'll just call this individual Hiker X. And last night, right before dinner, Hiker X came in, and he was just complaining about the terrain, and people were fear-mongering, and, you know, he can fly over this kind of terrain, and kind of on, and kind of interrupted, like, pretty much what everybody was doing in the hut. And Hiker X just never showed up last night. And I was like, I never, ever want to be that hiker that complains or tries to tell somebody else how to hike, or this way's the only way, and I'm reflecting back over, you know, how I've sounded on these episodes, and hopefully I've never come across as ungrateful or not happy. If anything, I'm very happy to be out here, and I'm also very happy to accept, yeah, I got to do lower miles, and that's okay. I'm still covering the same terrain. And finally, I just kind of had to leave the dining room last night. Hiker X on, and then I was like, oh no, Hiker X might be on and on this morning, and Yes, he was. So I just never want to be Hiker X. And I know he's tired. And I know he's traveled a long way. And maybe he just needs to take a couple days off. But anyway, sadly, I've seen a lot of thru hikers, northbounders. They're just so tired and ready to be done. And I'm just thankful that, section hiking, I do get tired and I do get to a point, but then I have to go back to work and I miss it so badly. And the only thing I want to do is be out here, and I just don't want to complain about it. So a couple things I just wanted to share with you all from last night. I am headed a whopping 4.9 miles to the Lake of the Clouds hut. And I'm proud of myself for only doing that mileage because, yes, the terrain is difficult. And I want to be able to slow my roll and make decisions and not have to worry about, I got to get here, during this stretch. So anyway, y'all, on my way up to Tree Line right now, which I should be popping out at anytime now. And I am going to enjoy being above Tree Line, being able to see Mount Washington. Storms are supposed to roll in later this afternoon, so I should be able to make my way to the hut well before the storms hit this afternoon, but you never know. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to enjoy this day, and I'll be back. I knew there was something else I wanted to share with you. Listen, I said this earlier, one thing you can count on is change. And just last night I said, well, I'll just do a recap at the end of the day, but I don't want to forget things. So this morning, I was sitting there enjoying coffee, of course, and this lady came in, and one of the hikers went over and said, oh, it's so good to see you, and they hugged and everything, and that was awesome to see. And then I noticed he kind of just started maybe signing to her, and then he told one of the hut crew, hey, this is Moxie. I guess that's her trail name. And she's deaf. And one of the crew came around. Oh my gosh, y'all, it was so beautiful. I almost started crying. One of the crew members that works at the hut came around and just started signing to her. And it was like this beautiful language of speaking and smiling and signing and the mannerisms. It was absolutely wonderful. I honestly wanted to take out my phone and start videoing it, but of course, absolutely not. But y'all, it was so beautiful to see them communicating and signing, and here she is through hiking the Appalachian Trail, and all the way up here in New Hampshire, doing her thing. And I thought, oh my God, that is fantastic. And it just caused me to reflect again and just be so happy that I'm able to do this, and not only have done it once, but be able to have the body and the mind and the wherewithal, to do it again. And you just never know who you're going to meet on a daily basis out here. And yeah, just fantastic. Just fantastic. Again, if y'all have a dream to get out and day hike, section hike, through hike the Appalachian Trail, I say, what are you waiting on? Get out and just do it and make it happen. And don't let anything, stop you that you think, oh, well, I can't do that because of this, or, oh, well, I can't do this because of that. Don't let it stop you. I've seen so many people out here with so many different things, and they're still out here doing it, and it's fantastic. So I know I've used that word a lot, but that's just the only way I can describe it. And I was going to tell y'all, I feel like I'm getting some kind of trail legs because I'm not having to look blaze to blaze and, take a breath. I'm actually able to start climbing. It's slow, but continual. And 26 days in. So apparently that's how long it takes. So, all right, y'all. I am approaching tree line. I'll be back. Y'all, back again. I knew there was one more thing I wanted to tell you guys. I met a couple guys doing a flip-flop, and one guy's from Australia, and he actually started in New York. So he's going from New York to Katahdin, and then he'll go back to Georgia and then hike home to New York City. And he had the best accent. He a big Australian beard. He was a cool dude. And the guy he was hiking with, they didn't know each other. They met on trail. And they came in the hut this morning and used the restroom and all the things. And they were staying at the campsite that I talked about earlier that's basically right next to the hut. And they were looking at a big map of the White Mountains on the wall in the hut. And I said, "Oh, where are you guys going today?" And he pointed over to the campsite. And I said, "Y'all, you're taking a day off." And he goes, "We are so tired. We're going to take a day off, and it's going to be glorious. And we're going to stay right here where we have water, and we can set up our tents, and we can dry things out." And I just thought that was so awesome. I have never taken a day off actually on trail. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put that on my list of things that I want to do is actually take a day off on trail. So I've added another thing that I want to do as I'm rolling through my years of hiking is just next time I plan a town stop, don't go into town. Just stay on trail and chill out and whatever, really. So they were so happy. He looked at me this morning. He said, "I am so tired. I don't even want to go up to Mount Washington, and it's supposed to be a beautiful day." I said, "You know what? You don't have to. Are you on a time crunch?" He goes, "No." I go, "There you go." I said, "You're still building up your legs, and you still have the whole, in my opinion, the southern part of the trail, the best part of the trail." I said, "You guys are going to be rolling through there, no problem." And anyway, just wanted to share that with y'all as well. Y'all, I am back. It is day number 27. And where do I begin from yesterday? I think I left off. I was on my way to Lakes of the Clouds hut from Mitzpah Hut, which was a 4.9-mile day. Absolutely fantastic, bright, sunny, not a cloud in the sky kind of day. And got into the hut. And this in particular hut, it holds 92 people. So unlike the previous evening at Mitzpah Hut, where only 9 of us were there were actually 92 people at Lakes of the Clouds hut. It is at the base of Mount Washington, which is about a mile down from the top of Mount Washington. And just sat outside Lakes of the Clouds hut for the majority of yesterday afternoon and watched people come and go. A lot of peak baggers, a lot of runners, a lot of day hikers. Overnight backpackers coming up from different trails, filling up their water. And it was actually a great afternoon, bright, sunny. And all day as people were coming in to get checked into the hut, the topic of the afternoon was, what's the weather going to do tomorrow, which is today. and the weather called for scattered showers. The mountain was going to be in the cloud. The temperature was going to drop, and it was going to rain in the middle of the night. And we were all like, well, you never know what's going to happen. And before I tell you what happened, which you might already be able to guess, the next day, going from Lake of the Clouds Hut north on the Appalachian Trail for just over 7 miles, well, it's more than that, 7 or 8 miles, you are totally exposed above tree line. So that's why everybody was talking about the weather. There is nowhere to kind of duck and hide if there's a thunderstorm. If there are scattered showers supposed to come in, isolated thunderstorms, if the weather suddenly drops, there is nowhere to kind of get off a side trail or have cover. There's just no cover. And that's why Mount Washington, that area, that stretch is so difficult, because you kind of have to make decisions. What am I going to do? Am I going to go over in bad weather and risk something happening? Am I going to wait for a sunny day? Am I just not going to care and do whatever the weather holds in the first place? So that was the topic of discussion at the hut last night. And about 4 a.m. this morning, the rain started pounding the hut. I got up to use the restroom and looked out one of the kitchen windows. And I mean, it was raining right, left, up, down. At one point, I thought it was snowing. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be something here once everybody gets up and we have breakfast at 7 o'clock. And one of the things that they do at the huts every morning during breakfast, they give you the high peak weather report. They give you, if you're going below tree line, they give you that report. So this morning at breakfast, it was like Mount Washington's in the clouds. It's 100% humidity at Mount Washington, 59 degrees. And I think the visibility was like 20 feet. And literally the visibility was like 20 feet. So I knew that if I was able to get up to Mount Washington, that I would be able to get off Washington itself, because at the top of Mount Washington, there is, they have like I don't know, like a weather station there. They have a snack bar there. They have rangers up there that work at an information desk. They actually even have a post office. They have the COG train that runs up to the top of Mount Washington. They also have what is called the auto road. You could drive to the top of Mount Washington. So I knew that if I did not want to hike today, that I would possibly have a way down the mountain, because Stephanie had bought a ticket to ride the COG up, and we could actually meet regardless of the weather and kind of hang out for a little bit. And then I would head on my way to Madison Hut. But it is 1.4 miles and 1,000 feet of elevation gain from Lakes of the Clouds Hut up to Mount Washington. And it took me like 2 hours to get to the top of Mount Washington, because number one, there's no signage, there's no anything, and you have to follow these cairns. And if you're not looking right at everything, and literally I could not see any of the signage. That's how bad the fog was. So instead of staying on what's called the Crawford Path, I went off on some other trail. I'm not sure the name of it now. And then I realized I was going down. So I was like, well, that's not right. I should be going up to Mount Washington. And then realized I was almost a half a mile off trail, thinking I should be to the top of Mount Washington. So had to turn around, get my bearings, and when I turned around, I was like, it's just so hard to see up here in this cloud. It was actually a little scary. So turned around, and coming toward me was a couple that stayed at the hut last night. They were like, oh man, you missed your turnoff about 0.4 back. So probably overall did an extra mile, got back on the Appalachian Trail, or also known as the Crawford Path, got up to Mount Washington, and it wasn't that cold. It was just so foggy. You just barely could see your hand if you stuck it out in front of your face. So made the decision to come on down from Mount Washington, get out of that cloud, look at the plan once again, revamp everything. And that's exactly what we did. So currently, right now, I was able to get a shower. We are at a campground, and I was able to do laundry and get everything kind of washed and ready to go for, I don't know, at this point, I might be on plan XYZ. Who knows? But I've revamped my plan for a little bit. But I'm going to leave y'all hanging until the next episode so you can find out what the plan is. And I'm going to leave you hanging because I'm about 99% sure what the plan is. But I want to make sure when I get up tomorrow that is exactly what I am going to do. So, going to have a good evening, going to get a good night's rest. Oh, and we went and had pizza. So that was great because I'm about sick of hut food. With that being said, there is going to be a new plan, but that will unfold during the next episode. So once again, thank you all for listening. I think this episode is going to include days 25, 26, and 27. And stay tuned until the next episode. Be safe out there, everybody, and happy section hiking.